Okay, guys. Okay, we've gotten it back to mono track, and we are on. So, welcome to another episode of the Weekend Podcast by Jay. And I kind of like saw something trending on the internet some days ago, and I felt like, okay, let's quite try to address this issue. It's not like it's our issue anyways, but anything concerning the body of Christ and anything concerning self-improvement and growth is something that we definitely would look at. So yep, that is why we are here. So yeah, Pastor Iren and the banter with what is his name, Peter Obi, the last election presidential candidate, and we got to see why this man was he was on the podcast, and he mentioned some things that some people took in another way, and we definitely have to see why the people took it in another way. So let's analyze what he really truly said, right? Yeah. So let's analyze what he truly said. So I'll listen to the podcast again, like the audio again, and I will analyze it to you people. For those that have not watched the podcast, you would really not know or understand what we are talking about. Please watch the short clips, or I would show the short clips here so that you can get a better view of what I am trying to say, so that you would not get lost in the whole explanation of the whole thing. So yeah, let us start. Okay, everyone. Now I'm just watching Peter Obi's view on this thing. Now, this is not to say that I have not watched it before, or I have not like seen the full 2 hour. Okay. So I do listen to podcasts, and definitely, trust me, I am a big fan of like growth and everything. So now, Peter Obi did not come out and like publicly say that going to church is wrong. No, that is not what Peter Obi like said, and we will get to what Pastor Iren'S is trying to like buttress, and what he's trying to like give a better view on. But this is it. Peter Obi is of the opinion that lazy people are more church oriented. People now, Yoruba has an adage that says, Ishe to nira lo leleshe. It is only the tedious work that a lazy man would settle for doing. Go to the stream and fetch water. A lazy man will not go to the stream to fetch water. He will not take instructions. He will go everywhere else to look for water except the stream. Do you get? So this is Peter Obi saying that there are people in church that are not following the proper protocol and systems of life that is meant for productivity, that is meant for financial independence. And these people are going to church, and some pastors, quote and unquote, are weaponizing these people and getting them to pay more money and sow more seeds and do extra things, just in the hopes of, oh, the Lord will do this and the Lord will do that. As good as it is that, okay, we are seeing that God gives people money, he is of the opinion that God does not outrightly give people money just like that, right? God gives people money based on their productivity. Like, God will ask you, what do you have in your hand? And this like is not a like Christian thing, so to say, but most Christians, if we are not being blinded by this is the person that said it, or this is the person that said it, and everything like that, if we are not blinded by that, we will know that most people have this, if I go to church, God go run am. And before the arrival of the missionaries in Nigeria, there has always been this mystical side to an average African person's life, where they believe that there is a power from the father's house. I'm not disputing the fact that there is a power from your father's house, from your mother's house, from your in-laws' house, and whatever. There's a power from the father's house. There's a power from the mother's house. There's a power from the whatever surrounding locality everybody's using juju or something like that. Yes, we know that fact. But there are some people that it is not spiritual. What is wrong with some people is not spiritual. What is wrong with some people is character. Like, it is habitual. That is what I want to say. So what is wrong with some people is not spiritual. What is wrong with some people is habitual. And this is them thinking that when they use that spiritual, when they follow the spiritual path, that habitual part will be covered up for, or will be mended if they follow the spiritual part. But this is Peter Obi trying to say that a lot of people cry to God for things that they can do for themselves. And if they stop pestering God and start taking their life seriously, grace comes after that action that you take for yourself. When grace comes for you, it comes after the action, not just saying that the grace of God will do this, the grace of God will do that. Definitely the grace of God will do it. But how exactly are you planning on doing these things or pushing forth these things? Because if you do not have a plan, you would fail. And if you fail, that means you do not have a plan. So this is me saying that there are realms and places and points where we need to. So there is a point where you take responsibility for your actions and the things that you do, so that you would be able to go to God and ask a certain thing, and God does it for you, because He knows that this is not you just asking. This is you knowing exactly what you are asking for, because you are doing your part of the deal. A lot of us as humans, as creatives, and as Nigerians mostly, we don't do our part when it comes to asking God. We just make sure we ask God, and we feel like God sovereign power, or the sovereign power of God, or the sovereignty of God will just work everything out for us without proper rules that are being followed. The world is created by systems. Systems guides the world, and one of the systems of getting money is productivity. If you are not productive, you would not get any money. Now, don't forget the part that Peter Obi said, His Excellency Peter Obi said that he is a productive person. That if you take his 1 month schedule and do it in a year, you have had a very productive year. Now, this person is speaking not from the standpoint of bias. Is saying that there are some certain point of people, or some certain number of people, that if you take them out of the church because of their laziness and put them in productive work, the prayer points that they are praying would be answered within 6 months to 1 year. Because most of them are just hell-bent on, let's do this thing, let's do that thing. Like, they don't have work. They don't want to work, but they believe that this is this. And there are some churches, I know of some churches that engage their members most times in a fast, almost every time. Engage them in services Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, periods of times like that, and you just look like, why are these people doing this? Like, why are they praying so much? See, just like I said, by the grace of God, God has helped me. I am a minister myself. I pray a lot. But I have seen that sometimes the powerful person is always subject to the economic person, or to the one that has the finance. No matter how much you can pray, no matter how much you can fast, once somebody offer you a certain level of access to finance that you do not have, you would see that your convictions will be shaken a little. So that is it. Now, Peter Obi said that he is a church person. His brother is a reverend father. His sister is a reverend sister. So he's sandwiched between two pastoral people, or two people that have pastoral callings. Now, let's get back to the fact that he said that when there are people that say miracle money enter their phone, they should be arrested. See, I don't know about, I believe that God can do anything. But when blacks and Nigerians and Africans capitalize on the minority of the hand of God to bring about a major change in their life, it is a problem. Like when you see that, oh, this aspect of God is possible. I believe in miracle money. I believe that God can put it in somebody's heart to send money to you. But when you believe that that minor act of God is supposed to be a major shift in your life and will continue sustaining you, miracles are real, but miracles are never sustained or continued by miracles, if you understand what I'm saying. So this talk from Peter Obi is just telling everybody that let's get more productive, right? Let's get more productive. Let's put our minds and hearts in the things that we do, rather than calling on God every single time. Now, let us go and watch Pastor's side of the story. Okay, so now we are back on Pastor's own side of the story. Now, Pastor's own side of the story is like, okay, there is no church, or there are no churches that engage their people in services all through. Now, and Pastor's own side of the argument was that it is only a weaker percent of the church population that mostly engage, or they are mostly people that shout and cry every time for God to do stuff. And also, third part is that he said, if the people are not in church, where do you want them to go? Do you have jobs for them? Now, all that too is true. See, when making an argument, it's not about who is wrong or who is right. It is finding a common ground, right? So, Pastor is of the opinion that there is no way that people will have jobs and would sit down in church. And number two is that how many times do churches have services in what do you call it? In a week? 2-3 times a week. And within those 2-3 times, let's say 2 hours, 3 hours. Because now let's look at this age. This age is an age of we don't want to sit down every time to be in one place. This age is a moving age. Like, it is difficult for you to keep people in a place for long. It is very, very difficult. So you can't just sit down and say, let's have service for 6 hours. But yeah, I know. Let's see. So apart from the bias of the fact that I've seen videos where somebody said that you should pray, if you're a minister, you should pray for a certain amount of hours every day. And I thought about it, that if you pray for this certain amount of hours every day as a minister, number one, you will go hungry. Number two, your mind. Now, this person is a high person in the spirit. Now, the fact that it worked for this person does not mean that it will work for you, because there are different circumstances surrounding that person that are not your lot. So if somebody can go to church every day for some people and it is working for them, you may not be able to go to church every day and it's working for you. See, that is why it is mostly said that Christianity is a personal thing, right? You have to make a personal altar with God. Now, Pastor is talking from a standpoint of because there are some certain amount of people or number of people that would use that Peter Obi's thing and say, yes, we are not productive, let's go and be looking for work. It is God that will make your work productive. But again, make sure you work when you work and not see. There are many people deceiving themselves into saying, I know I'm working, but see, let's be, my dear, look at me, let's be sincere with ourselves. Like, you are not really working the way you are supposed to work. If you are working the way you are supposed to work, this thing that you are doing should not be like this. So if we are looking at it from that standpoint of, oh, this person is not doing as he's supposed to do, and you now start doing, I have tons of books that I've read about work, and I'm telling you, most of the time, so most people do not work when they say they work. I even find myself guilty. I am a workaholic. But most of the time, we busy ourselves into thinking that we are working. The fact that you are busy doesn't mean you are productive, and the fact that you are productive doesn't mean you have to be busy. And the fact that you are busy and productive now means that God can place his hand on your life and bring something fruitful out of your life. You hear people say things like small work, big money, small engagements, big profit. Most of the time, my dear, it does not work like that, right? It does not work like that. So if you want a productive life, if you really, really, really do want a productive life, you have to start working for it. Like, you have to start working for it. If you start working for it, it will definitely show. So now, Pastor is of the opinion that if there are jobs, people will not come to church. Now, I will stand upon the fact that there are some people that God have given directions, and the church always address this, where God will tell you, go and start this job or do it like this. I am running a business today that God gave me specific instructions on starting the business, and this is how some people will do it. Some people will not want to start those businesses that God is giving them to start because they feel like, oh, it's not my standard, I'm a graduate, I'm a this, I'm a that. You are nothing except God makes you something, or you are something after you have been vetted and verified by God and the people that you give value to, that you are valuable enough to be called something. If that makes sense to you, then take it. If it doesn't, forget about it. So you don't just come out of the blues and you are praying to God every day. God is not a wicked God. God will answer your prayers. God will give you things to do. God will give you instructions to do. And when God gives you instructions to do, kindly follow the instructions. And this is something about God. Once God gives you instructions, we will talk about instructions in another podcast. Once God gives you instructions and you don't follow the last instruction, guess what? He will not give you another instruction. God is so big on you following the last instruction that he gave you so that he can give you another one. So God is a moving God, but God does not do business with people that do not listen or do not carry out. Now, I'm even remembering instructions that God has given me personally that I've not carried out, that I'm going to carry out immediately I finish this podcast. So it is not a matter of do I have to do this? Do I have to do that? When God talks to you, if the government does not create a job for you and God is dropping a business idea in your mind, it doesn't have to be big. It just needs to feed you or start by feeding you. When God drops something in your mind as a Christian, do it. Don't let people come out of the blues and curse the church. Because you can't even imagine the transformation that the church has really added to the lives of people. How many lives of people that have been changed by the church. Now, I believe that Peter Obi is addressing the merchants that has made out the church to be a business. people selling all different kinds of items, miracle money, miracle water, miracle keys of whatever. These are the people that Peter Obi, I think, is referring to. But if Pastor, at the level of influence that God has given him, does not reply to something, I see these things like these are not social media banters or just dragging attention. These are people trying to protect the influence of God over the nations. Because if they don't talk anything about it, people will swallow it. And when people swallow it, there'll be a decline in the receptive ability of people to the instructions being given by children, men of God, to the children of God, and it will affect humanity. Do you know what Christianity has done to the world? It's crazy, but I don't understand why people would just continue like making it seem as though the church is not working. The church is working, but there are some people making the church look like it is not working enough for or it is doing what it is not supposed to do, or it is overdoing what it is meant to do in the first place. Let's not make the church look like that. Ladies and men, girls and gentlemen, please make sure that you follow instructions that God is giving you. The church will not engage everybody in activities every time. And this is it. If your church engages you in activities every time and your pastor is not concerned about your personal productivity, how you feed, how you fend, what your life is going to look like, your future, your purpose and everything, leave that ministry. I'm telling you, that ministry is not for you. Because truly, there are some pastors or there are some men that call themselves that they are of God. Now, you see the kind of the usage of words that I employed there. There are some people that they exploit people for their personal gain to bring about their own vision. If your leader can't make you into a leader because he is leading you by the instrument of knowledge and wisdom, then you should give that person a serious and sincere gap. Like, you should give that person a very, very, very sincere gap. I'm very, very serious. So it is not like Peter Obi is wrong. Peter Obi is not wrong, and Pastor is not wrong. Both are not wrong, but both are addressing the public based on their level of influence and putting things straight. Do you understand? Putting things straight. Pastor has a very clear and precise record of productivity over the years. Can you imagine what Pastor is doing? Pastor travels around the world. He's literally not in one church every Sunday. Opens branches outside the country like as though he's inside Nigeria. Do you know how freaking hard it is to do that? And Peter Obi goes now. Both of them are productive in both of their callings. So you cannot say that these people are addressing the crowd of the people that God has sent to them. Now, there are some people that will get a wake-up call from what Peter Obi said, and there are some people that will get a wake-up call from what Pastor said. So now, bottom line is, don't allow your devotions to be affected by the view of the God will pay your bills, but God will only pay your bills if you are committed to doing the things that He is sending you to do. Do you understand? So please be productive. Be very, 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 very productive. Don't even sit down on your giftings, on your talents and everything and feel like, oh, God go do it one day, God go run up. It go better, like Apostle Joshua Selman will say, are the words of a crazy, hopeless man that will one day be frustrated and probably kill himself from not living a productive life. Productivity is key. Both are right, none are wrong. Both are addressing the crowds that God has given them access to and the influence that God has given them access to. Please, I would see you another weekend to maybe basically address another issue. We would always address issues every week because I think I loved this episode. I loved everything about it. God bless you. I would see you in another episode. Peace out. Let me hear your own view about this whole matter and what you think in the comment sections. And if you agree with some things I said, and if you don't agree with some things I said, I would love to hear it in the comment section. God bless you. Goodbye. I will see you in another podcast. Peace.